Think about freight trains for a second. They're these absolute giants, the backbone of our entire economy, right? Moving mountains of stuff every single day. But the way we power them, it's kind of stuck in the past. So it's definitely time for a rethink.
And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, the U.S. freight rail system is a beast. It moves more goods than any other in the world. I mean, 40% of all the stuff moving between cities, that's huge. And that number is only going to go up. It's an incredible logistical feat, for sure, but it runs on a surprisingly old-school fuel, diesel. And yeah, that comes with a pretty heavy price.
You know that steady rumble of a diesel locomotive? It's a sound we've all heard for like a century. But behind that sound, there's this massive, and honestly often overlooked problem for the environment and for our health. So let's pull back the curtain and look at the real cost of being so hooked on diesel. Okay, get ready for this number, 35 million. That's how many tons of carbon dioxide U.S. diesel locomotives pump into the air every single year. It's a staggering number, for sure, but the impact, it goes way beyond just the climate.
And this is where the cost becomes tragically human. The air pollution from those same trains, it's estimated to cause around 1,000 premature deaths every year. And here's the crazy part. Even though trains are more fuel efficient than trucks, they actually pump out more harmful pollution per gallon of fuel. Why? Because the emission rules for them just aren't as strict.
And if you want to put a price tag on that, well, here's the economic fallout. The health damage from all that pollution costs an estimated $6.5 billion a year. So you see, this isn't just an environmental thing. It's a massive economic and public health crisis.
So all of this just begs the question, right? In an age where technology is changing everything, are we really stuck with this 20th century tech for our trains? Or is there a cleaner, smarter way forward? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into.
Okay, so where do you even start if you want to electrify something that moves? I mean, the first idea that pops into your head is probably just stick some solar panels on it, right? And that's exactly what some cities are trying out, not on the huge freight trains, but on their smaller cousins, the city trams.
Let's take a look at Rome, for example. Engineers there are actually fitting their trams with solar panels on the roof, and the numbers are pretty cool. During the sunniest summer months, these panels can cover up to a quarter of the tram's energy needs. That's a really promising start, but is it enough for the big leagues?
And this is the reality check. A city tram is one thing. A freight train that weighs thousands and thousands of tons, that's a whole different beast. The power you need is just immense. A few solar panels on the roof? Yeah, that's not going to cut it. We need a much, much bigger solution.
And that bigger solution, it comes from a technology that's already changing, well, everything. Batteries. Now, the idea isn't to build a whole new fleet of trains. It's about upgrading the ones we already have. And here's the really cool part. Most diesel locomotives are already diesel-electric. The diesel engine isn't directly turning the wheels, it's just running a generator that makes electricity for the motors. That makes them basically perfect for a battery-powered upgrade.
So let me introduce you to the battery tender car. The concept is so simple, it's brilliant. You take a regular old boxcar, you pack it full of powerful modern batteries, and you just couple it to the existing locomotive. Then you can just shut the diesel engine off. The train runs quietly, cleanly, on pure electric power from that tender car. Simple as that.
So yeah, this diagram shows how it works on a tram, but the idea is exactly the same for a massive freight train. The batteries just feed electricity straight to the motors turning the wheels. It's a really clever way to upgrade a huge fleet without having to scrap everything and start over. So the big question is, why now? What's changed? Well, battery technology has been on an absolutely incredible ride. Since just 2010, battery prices have crashed by 87%. And at the same time, the amount of energy you can pack into them has tripled. We're at this amazing tipping point where this isn't just a cool idea anymore, it's actually affordable.
And this really shows you just how powerful these batteries have become. You can pack a single tender car with a 14 megawatt-hour battery. To put that in perspective, that's enough juice to give a freight train a range of about 241 kilometers. And here's the clincher. That's almost exactly the average distance U.S. freight train travels between its regular stops, and the whole thing fits inside a standard boxcar, no problem.
Okay, so we know it's technically possible, but let's get to the million-dollar question, or in this case, the billion-dollar question. Does it make financial sense? I mean, can batteries really compete with good old cheap diesel? Let's break down the numbers.
All right, let's look at the total cost over 20 years.
Right off the bat, you can see that battery electric is already competitive. It's right there in the same ballpark as diesel. But then you add in those hidden costs of diesel we talked about, the health and climate damage, that $6.5 billion a year, and the whole picture flips. Suddenly, battery electric doesn't just compete, it wins, hands down.
So what's the secret sauce that makes the economics work? It's all about the charging. See, unlike your personal EV where you need chargers all over the place, freight rail is totally different. It's a centrally planned system. The trains run on predictable routes, on predictable schedules. That means you can build these super powerful fast charging stations at key locations and know they'll be used pretty much 24/7. And that constant use drives the cost of charging way, way down.
Okay, let's recap. Switching to batteries cleans the air and it can save a ton of money. That's already a huge win-win, right? But believe it or not, the story doesn't end there. There's another benefit to all this, a system-wide benefit that's so big it could actually reshape our entire energy grid.
So let's put a number on the total prize here. You add up all the savings on fuel, on maintenance, plus all those climate and health costs you're not paying anymore, and the total net savings for the U.S. over 20 years, a staggering $94 billion.
But here's the truly mind-blowing idea. What if these thousands of battery cars weren't just for powering trains? What if they could also help power our cities? Think about it. When a hurricane hits, or a massive heat wave, or a wildfire threatens the power supply, this giant fleet of batteries on wheels could literally be driven to wherever they're needed most.
Just picture this for a second. You've got charging stations, maybe powered by solar and wind, that are juicing up these trains. But when the grid gets stressed, the power flow reverses. The trains start feeding electricity back into the grid, acting like a giant mobile backup system to stop blackouts before they happen.
And the scale of this, it's just mind-boggling. If you converted the entire U.S. freight system, you'd create a mobile energy storage network of over 200 gigawatt hours. This isn't just a bunch of trains anymore. It's basically a strategic national energy reserve on wheels. It would give our power grid a level of resilience it's never had before.
So what's the big takeaway here? Reinventing the train isn't just about the train. It's a triple win. It saves the industry billions of dollars, it cleans up our air, and it gives us this powerful new tool to make our whole power grid stronger and more resilient. It's a win-win-win.
So look, the technology is here. The economics are lining up perfectly. The benefits for our health, our economy, our energy security, they're just immense. Which leaves us with one final, pretty exciting question to think about. Are we standing on the cusp of the biggest revolution for the railroad since the invention of the diesel engine itself?